Welcome back to Crusade with Me, the podcast where we stop skimming the surface and start diving deep into culture, mindset, energy, and truth. Today's episode is going to make some people squirm, and that's good. We're talking about a social media post that's been flying around like wildfire. Why are men's standards called toxic, but women's delusions are called self-worth? Now, whether you agree with it, hate it, or aren't sure what to make of it, that post hit a nerve, and there's a reason for that. And we're going to spend the next hour unpacking the energy behind this statement, not to start a war, but to seek clarity, to get honest, to bring some grounded, level-headed truth into a conversation that became loud, shallow, and often weaponized on both sides. So let's walk into this like we always do, with curiosity, not condemnation, with openness, not outrage, with truth and not tribalism. So let's go. Hello, my queen. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. We didn't talk about your new smile.
No, we didn't. I mean, we've done 3 episodes so far today. This is our 4th. That's because I forgot to hit the record button on our first episode that we did this today. But, and we did talk about it then, but then when we had to redo it, we didn't record. I was so aggravated, I forgot to go back to that.
Yeah.
And talk about it again. But yeah, I did. Great stuff. I mean, we're doing what I wanted to do. It's taken some time. Nowhere near what I've heard a lot of other people do. So my guy, my dentist guy, Dr. Birch, he's fabulous, and he really has been even more than I had anticipated, with no fighting. I mean, he said what he wanted to do. I said what I expected, and we met in the middle. I mean, I accepted his answer right away. Did I not?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was all good. And this is day what? 4 days removed from the fact of having a couple of teeth extracted and 2 bridges put in, and
still got some swelling going on.
Yeah, still got some swelling, and I'm still tender, to put it mildly, but not bad. We were able to have friends in on Friday and had a great time with them. We talked about that.
His parents, yeah.
Yeah, the dentist's parents, yeah, are lifelong friends. And, well, but you've it's been a couple of decades since I ever kind of smiled, and I've gotten out of that habit.
Yes.
And I learned over the last 2 decades or so how to smile without showing teeth.
Yes.
And now I have to retrain myself, and I'm not even sure how to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's your top teeth.
And I have a mustache, and I have a goatee, and so I think that was probably by design that my mouth was kind of hidden.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And but yeah,
because I wanted to take a picture to send to the kids so they could see.
Well, you said that like I just came out of the dentist chair. I was in the dentist chair for like 4.5 hours. I drive home, and you're like, oh, let me explain. I was still numb. I couldn't even feel my upper lip, much less a smile.
Yeah, but it hasn't gotten much better, but
it has gotten much better. Well, I have taken more ibuprofen in the last 3 days than I've taken in the last 2 years, probably.
Yeah.
But it is helpful. The ibuprofen does help. Because I'm thinking I'm about ready for some more. But since I haven't had bourbon. Because bourbon seems to really help. If I wash the bourbon over my gums, that really seems to help.
I do have a great smile with you and Mr. Birch Senior.
Yeah, Big Sexy Stud Senior. I like to refer to him as Big
Yeah.
Sexy Stud.
Yeah, and you have a nice cigar hanging out of your mouth.
Yeah, did you? You didn't send that, or I wonder if he sent it to the dentist.
I sent it to
Yeah,
Mrs.
we don't want to
Birch.
send it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want to send it
And
to
I
him.
think she sent it to him. Yeah. I don't know what the response was, but
Yeah, we never did hear back. You want to text and ask. So did Dr. Birch ever respond to the fact that I was smoking a cigar? Well, that poor little girl, and I say little girl, I mean, she's obviously I don't know what she is.
she's a dental assistant.
She's the tool handler. She hands him the stuff. Anyway, she's cute as a button, and she's giving me the instructions after, and I just want to get out of there. All right, I'll be honest with you. I want to get out of there and have a cigarette. The first thing she says, so we want you to refrain from smoking. And I looked at her. She says, I said, I've smoked for 50 years. She said, we'll do the best you can. I think she kind of caught on that. I'm not going to just...
Well, it looks great. It looks great,
you.
and
Thank
it's
you.
only going to get better because these are
these
just
are
temporaries.
these are temporaries, and I will have permanents here in about
6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah. And and so you and I have talked about what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm probably a week or two late on this because I had seen this. It really kind of flooded most of the social media things that I see. And
I had not seen this, so I mean, I've seen similar maybe a while back. But...
So, and I just want to acknowledge something. This post hits because it exposes, quote unquote, a double standard that's playing out all over modern dating, social media, and even mental health spaces. The message: when a man says he wants a woman who's fit, a woman who's feminine, emotionally stable, not glued to her phone, or with a lower sexual partner count, he's called toxic, insecure, controlling, misogynistic, right? That's the...
Mm-hmm.
But when a woman says she won't date a man under 6 foot tall, or he has to make 6-figure income, be emotionally available but never disagree with her, or that she refuses to settle while bringing almost nothing to the table, that's called self-worth, boundaries, and empowerment. So do you feel the tension in those two?
Mm-hmm.
So let's breathe through that, right? Because something deeper is really going on here, in my opinion, I feel like. And I don't get into this painting in broad strokes.
Right.
So number one, right? Because... And I think we've made this clear, and if people have listened to very many of these, and this is episode 94? 95. So that, we've put out quite a bit of content.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand. So when I'm talking about a lot of these things, there's things that are foreign to me because you and I have been together for over 40 years. I mean, this September we will have been married 39.
And we dated for 3 years.
Yeah, and this doesn't describe you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of an odd nut. Well,
I am.
And
Takes
you know that.
one to know one.
And you know that. But I'm just saying that you're. So there are when we're having this conversation, it's not all women,
mm-hmm.
but this thing has gained traction somewhere somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And so where did we get here? A culture of contradictions, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so we live in a culture obsessed with validation. but allergic to accountability.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Right.
and that's that I like saying that because that I feel like that really does describe where we are at in our existence on this rock today.
Mm-hmm. For a lot of different subjects.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So social media has turned dating and even identity into performance. It's less about being and more about branding. And somewhere along the line, self-respect got hijacked by self-delusion.
That's awesome.
So we've been fed the idea that men must always man up, stay quiet, provide, protect, and never complain. Women must always level up, expect more, receive endlessly, and never self-reflect. So neither of these extremes are healthy, right? I mean, seriously. Both are reactions to pain. And both strip away nuances. You know, my mama used to always say, the devil's in the detail. Mm-hmm. How true is that? That is very true. Mm-hmm. But here's where things tilt. When men express standards, they're accused of being insecure or sexist. When women express fantasies, it's called empowerment. So we've created a world where men are shamed for being honest, and women are rewarded for being unrealistic. I don't know how else to put it, right?
Right.
And again, I'm not talking about all women, but there seems to be this some sort of somewhere out there. Because I've recognized some of the women that they're talking about in these posts. So that imbalance doesn't just damage relationships; it fractures trust. It undermines growth, and it confuses people who are actually looking for something real. And then we wonder why the world feels like it's turned upside down. Mm-hmm. So the big part of that is, standards aren't toxic, first of all. And newsflash, fantasies aren't worth. I have a lot of fantasies, as you know. Mm-hmm. Do they change my worth and my value? No. Let's break it down. Standards are not toxic. The preference is grounded in reality. They come from experience, reflection, self-awareness. Let me give you some examples. So I want a partner who takes care of their health. That's a standard. I value emotional maturity. It's a value. I'm not interested in someone who parties every weekend. That's a value. These are all standards. They're based on what works for you and what doesn't. Now let's go to the other hand. Delusions are stories we tell ourselves to avoid growth. An example. I deserve a millionaire because I exist. No man is good enough for me unless he reads my mind and buys me a house. I refuse to change, and anyone who suggests otherwise is toxic. See, when one group's grounded preferences are shamed, while another group's fantasy world is celebrated, we create a culture of resentment, confusion, and bitterness. Mm-hmm. And here's the catch. Both men and women suffer in that culture. Mm-hmm. There's energy behind masculine versus feminine. And I believe it is part of nature's order for having a masculine energy and a feminine energy. And it seems to work. Mm-hmm. It worked for millennia, right? I mean, it kind of worked. Mm-hmm. So this isn't just a gender issue, it's an energy imbalance, really. So the masculine, when distorted, becomes controlling, resentful, and reactive, right? We've seen that. Mm-hmm. I've seen it. Mm-hmm. It's not good. And the feminine, when distorted, becomes entitled, manipulative, and emotionally chaotic. Am I lying here? I mean,
no.
Okay. So what we're seeing online and in modern dating and in the clash of wounded energies, not empowered men and women, but when people are healed and awake, here's what happens. Men have standards rooted in truth, not fear. And women have self-worth rooted in reality and not fantasy. So both grow, both build, both rise. But that requires self-reflection. Yeah. And this is where most people tap out, quite honestly. Because it's easier to label someone toxic than to ask, what am I bringing to the table? Mm-hmm. So let's flip the whole conversation. Instead of asking what they are doing wrong, ask, what am I projecting? What am I repeating? What am I expecting that I'm not willing to become? Here's the cold truth. You attract what you embody. If you want someone grounded, are you grounded? If you want someone emotionally intelligent, are you emotionally responsible? If you want someone loyal, do you have a history of loyalty? We don't get what we post about. We get what we live. And that applies to both men and women. No one is exempt. So this isn't about blame. It's about clarity and freedom. So here's some self-checks. No matter who you are or how you identify, number one self-check. Am I honest about my own flaws? Or do I expect grace and I don't give? Number two. Am I romanticizing standards I don't live up to? Check number three. Have I mistaken fantasy for fulfillment? Check number 4. When I say I deserve better, do I mean I'm becoming better? And check number 5. Do I expect someone else to do for me what I haven't done for myself? You can post your worth all day on social media. But if your life isn't aligned with those words, the result will be a reflected reality, not a hashtag. You're being awfully quiet, my love.
I think you're making great points. I would add, it's a very dangerous thing when you use words such as always, never, yes, everybody,
no one.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Because I immediately go to, that's either fantasy or delusion, yes, right? I mean, because...
Yes. You're kidding yourself.
Correct.
And when I read those words or I hear those words, because yes,
I know.
I think to myself, you're a liar or you're lying. And you're either lying to me or you're lying to yourself.
Correct. Right.
One, both. And I just tune you out.
And we probably need, this would be a whole other episode. We got to make it. You got your notebook. Could you make a note of this? I want to do an episode on masculine traits and feminine traits and why there's value in both and why there's an order to this thing we call life and why those things are important. Because I think in the 21st century, in the early part of the 21st century, this is becoming more and more muted. Mm-hmm. And, you've heard of nothing but, I read this repeatedly, like masculine toxicity.
Yes.
And there's truth in that many times. There are many places that you could say, okay, men are toxic, or this trait is a toxic trait. All right. There's a long history of domestic violence, right, mm-hmm. that you could point to
right.
clarify that fact. And that's not what I'm talking about here. Mm-hmm. I want to be real clear, right? And then why there is this aversion or repulsion for some genders, specific females, to oppress and suppress their feminism, their feminine. Mm-hmm. And I think we did a podcast some time ago, an episode some time ago about feminism and the divine feminine, mm-hmm. and some things that I thought were really positive out of the divine feminine, yes. specifically. Uh-huh. I wholeheartedly would buy into a fair amount of that, but
right. We hold the power to
correct,
give birth.
Correct, right. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think that would be worth an episode or two just to delve into that. Mm-hmm. But let's end with some balance here, all right? Because I don't want this to be a subject that is like, I don't know why it's gotten this way, but my social media was blown up with it because I think I looked at one, and then, it kind of bombards you with all sorts of stuff. Because I think I even shared one with you, and I said, man, I agree with everything this guy said. And then he posted something else, and I'm reading it, and I'm thinking, well, maybe this guy has just got a very bad view of women, because what he's saying, I could agree with that. I could think of some instances of some people that fit that category, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the same thing that you could say if you have a woman posting something about a toxic man. Well, I know some toxic men, right? Right. So, but to paint everyone in these broad strokes to say, all men are toxic and all women are empowered or whatever, or the way the article was written, it was like they're delusional, they're living in a fantasy, and they won't deal in reality. Well, I've not seen that and recognized that. Okay, so then I really kind of pulled back from this, and I just thought that was interesting. So this isn't about men being victims or women being delusional. I guess what I'm really trying to say. It's about noticing how culture has skewed expectations and how we, each of us, can clean up our side of the street, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Okay? So, men, you're allowed to have standards. Speak them calmly. Hold them firmly. Live them consistently. You don't need to yell or defend, just embody. And women, self-worth isn't about lists or likes. It's about knowing your value deeply and being willing to grow into the partner you hope to meet. We're not here to battle the opposite sex. We're here to build something worth sharing. And that takes truth. That takes grace. That takes you owning your own evolution. My queen, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, the one word that I didn't hear on this list anywhere was love. Call me old-fashioned. It wouldn't be the first time.
Silly.
But we've got this list of demands or expectations, but nowhere did it talk about love.
Why would we do that?
I know.
Why would we talk about love? Dun, 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 dun,
So silly.
dun, 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 dun,
Love
dun, dun, dun,
is a
dun,
silly,
dun.
a many splendid thing.
Yep. So back to the original question,
Uh-huh.
right? Why are men's standards called toxic, but women's delusions called self-worth? And maybe because we've stopped having real conversations, which has been your point, frequently about communications.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because we reward outrage more than honesty, and we're aware of that. I'm aware of that. I say a lot of outrageous things from time to time. Do I not?
Because you're the pot stirrer.
And maybe it's because it's easier to clap for a fantasy than to do the work to becoming something real. But not here, not on Crusade with Me. Here we speak plainly, we think deeply, and we grow honestly. So wherever you are, man, woman, human being, ask yourself today, am I the person I expect others to be? What do you think, my love?
I think that we just got to keep growing, loving, communicating, and we'll get there.
I would agree. I mean, it's hard to use words like delusional and fantasy, and I know I've had conversations and I've used those exact words, delusional. And that's a strong word. That's a hard word in my mind, in my vocabulary. It is a strong, hard word to say someone is delusional. But people can sometimes act delusional.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm so glad we were born when we were born.
I know, because it's hard. It's hard for this younger generation growing up. I feel for them.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew and I just had this conversation the other day. We were talking more economically about economics. But yeah, we've got to be able to communicate. We've got to be able to dip our toe in reality. I say we just jump into reality. Dip your toe in fantasy. I love fantasies. I love talking about fantasies. But we have to deal in reality. We have to know that.
Yeah.
And as many, okay, so now I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I'll be candid. As many women that post delusional things on social media, believe me, I'm quite positive there's an equal number of men doing the exact same thing. Okay,
Sure.
I mean, delusional is not gender specific.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Right.
just
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, I've been thinking about this for a couple of days now, knowing we were going to do this today. It makes me think, this is where I really want you. I think it would be important for you to have a series or a I don't care, an online course, something about being a woman. Now, I know I'm biased because I slept with you for like 39 years, but because I think you have a lot to offer some younger women, and you have experience, and you handle being a woman graciously, but you can also be kind of ferocious. I mean, not Beth Dutton ferocious, but you can be ferocious, okay?
I love Beth.
And I love Beth Dutton too.
But I mean, I can't talk like her, but
I would laugh if you did.
yeah, I would probably laugh at myself. I couldn't get it out, but I wish I could talk like her with a cleaner mouth, but her mind is sharp.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know that there's any more. I don't know.
You don't know there's any more maturing women out there?
I
know
don't
there
think
are.
of
I know there
myself as
are.
mature, except
Really?
in age.
No. You have some wisdom to share.
I don't know. I still think it's mostly of a biblical belief that the role that I lead is taking care of you, children, home. It's a mindset.
I agree. You're right, and you hit on something there that the role, and that's probably part of that conversation we'd have to have on another episode about masculine and feminine and roles.
And the
roles can be different in each couple, right? And when we talk about couples, the role is not really all that. Don't confuse assigned task in and outside of a home as roles. All right.
Well, I go back to like when I was working, and again, this comes from my faith. I mean, being a Christian woman, I remember that when I was working in the school, so I had to work parent-teacher conference, so I didn't have anybody to watch the kids at the time. And I happened, I was trying to find somebody, and one of the elders' wives at church said to me, I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to find somebody to watch the kids, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, how come it's not, Dave's responsibility to help find somebody to watch the kids, blah, 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 blah. And she kind of chastised me, and she said, because it's your responsibility. As the mother, that's your responsibility. And that's always, 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 always stuck with me. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It is my responsibility.
Well, yeah, because that's one you've chosen.
Right. But that's my belief. I'm not putting that on anybody else.
Correct. I was going to say
that's my responsibility. Right. I'm the mother. These are my children. You are the breadwinner. I'm not. This is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was my responsibility. That's my belief. But in today's world, you would be hard pressed to find someone else that,
Agreed with you. I would agree with that. I would agree with you that
yeah,
you would be hard pressed.
yeah.
And I say all this to say, and I haven't seen, but the divorce rate in our country is at 50%.
Yeah.
Did you know the divorce rate in our country was at 50% 40 years ago? So I mean,
Oh,
whatever.
really?
So I guess what I'm saying is I'm defending whatever this is, but it's not moving the needle. It's not keeping people together longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not breaking them up more quickly.
Yeah.
Whatever this is now, and there's a statistic I haven't looked at, but I probably should, is our marriage is becoming less frequent. And in my gut, it kind of tells me potentially yes, but, well, let me put it this way. Again, you can't really believe everything you read on social media. So, but the way,
Right. I
so
tell
the
you
way
that all the
people,
time.
you know what, yeah, by the way people are talking, you're assuming, oh, they're not married, they don't want to get married, they have no desire, there's no, and I've seen that on both sides of the coin too.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen social media posts that explain every negative potential happening for a man to say, why would I ever sign up for that? And that's basically the way the post ended. So you're going to commit to something that you can lose 50% of your wealth at any given time.
Right.
Just because you get to decide. You no longer can decide when you get to have sex. It's only determined by your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
All these things, and honestly, painted marriage. And reading it, I was like, holy crap! Why would any man want? You're right, but I'm thinking, yeah, but that's not what I've experienced. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what these people that are experiencing when they put this stuff out there.
I was going to say, any of those surveys or whatever can be tainted and twisted to however you
Well,
want
and I know all
them
about
to
data. I know all about
say.
data. You're
Yeah.
exactly right. Exactly right. But this is just when, I don't know why it's such a hot, like I said, my initial reaction to when I was reading, I was like, because I know some people that were fit into these camps, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's kind of accurate. That's cool. But then I thought about it, and when I saw the other postings and thought, this guy seemed like he just got a vendetta against women, quite honestly, with my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So then you really need to back up and start taking that with a grain of salt. But, again, devil's in the details.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's probably some truth. Even when we have, we do a lot of investigations at work through HR and so forth and so on. And people will have different views. They will have perceived things differently, even though they're both looking at something similar. Doesn't mean that they're lying. That means from their view, their perception, and it's not perceptive, what they perceived because of different locations and they're seeing something, they're seeing different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen that one posting? It shows whatever the royal guy's name is that's going to be king someday.
Oh, Charles or William?
Yeah, it shows him it appears there's a side angle picture of him. Looks like he's flipping somebody off.
Yeah, the
he's
finger,
not flipping somebody off. When then they showed the same picture from a different angle, and he was not. He was holding his hand up.
Right.
But the way it looked,
Yeah.
it looked exactly like he was flipping. That's what was perceived from one angle, but we perceive it from a different angle. You know what I'm saying? And you see it more clearly or differently. And that's something we've used several times in the last several episodes that we need to truly focus on, and that's clarity. Clarity of what we're thinking. So then my question is, okay, am I thinking something, I've heard a lot of people talk about, I want to, what's the term they use? I identify as whatever.
A cat.
Yes. Well, that's no different than me saying, when I want to identify as a billionaire. So I can go to a bank and I can withdraw millions of dollars because I'm a billionaire and I identify that way. It doesn't work, right?
Right.
Because that's not reality.
Right.
And I think that's probably one of the best ways to describe.
Well, I think that's because it's what's allowable. So
Yes.
you can get away with something as long as it's allowed. And I think not me and you, but culturally, people have allowed the whole kitty cat thing to happen. They don't let the billionaire understand what I'm saying. So if we allow things to happen, then
so let me take that to the next level then. So that there is some percentage of women that have this. I got to have a guy over 6 foot. Got to have a 6-pack. I mean, physically, not beer. Got to have 6 figures. Got to have a Lamborghini or whatever. All the list. And
because I think there's other.
And it's go girl, go, right?
Yes. There's other women spurring it on,
right?
Because why? Because if it's obtainable for 1 or 2 or 3 or more, then there's hope for those that are encouraging.
And none of that is, to your point, talking about relationship or love or anything of that nature. So it's very superfluous, to put it mildly. And that's a dangerous slope to jump on. And then, again, same thing with the men that, because he can bench press 300 pounds 5 times, or he can do this, or he can do that.
It's all superficial.
It's toxic.
Oh, wow.
Well, no, it's toxic. It's bad.
Yeah.
I just, that's not based in reality either.
So who's driving this boat?
Well, you're right. That's a great question, and I do believe that it is. I heard a guy tell me say once.
Shame on me.
Facebook will be the ruination of our country.
Well, I think he said the ruination of all families is what he actually said.
Okay, ruination.
But now we have a new name after this weekend.
That's right.
It's called the Book of Faces.
That's right.
So now I'm all confused.
Yeah.
But now that we think of it in that light, I'm starting to think that feminism is driving this train.
Well, I think it's social media in general.
Yeah.
Social media and the internet in general, from the standpoint of, one thing that's proven to me is we were worried about test scores and intelligence and all this, and we thought it was due to the lack of information. Well, obviously that ain't it, because almost everybody has access to the internet. So it can't be the lack of information, because the information's available now.
Right.
But I think there's so much information available now, and it has not been validated and this is a whole other podcast as well. I only look at and seek out what I'm really interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So on social media, most times you're only going to see one view.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Which is terrible.
Yep.
I might be politically, well, we've had that discussion, and I try not to talk about politics on this podcast, but I am an independent registered voter in this country. I don't declare a party. There are many tendencies within me that lean to the right.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have some views and thoughts that are somewhat progressive or left-leaning.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where that really puts me. I thought about, when we first were going to alter this podcast a little bit or try to a little bit, widen the audience or so forth. I remember I thought about changing the title. And I thought, I'm not changing the title just because I've only been at this 6 months or so. And I was going to be the the Midwest Progressive Conservative. Okay. Is that about screwed up as you can get? The Midwest Progressive Conservative podcast. But anyway, but do you understand what I'm saying? That there's so much. I think that the social media also creates the fantasy.
Yes.
Because social media is not realistic at all. It's not reality at all. People can fake and have fantasy on social media. Well, it's certainly not reality. It's certainly not the way they're living day to day.
And this is just my opinion, but I believe social media is the breakdown of all of this.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
It creates laziness. It creates lack of, I'll just say it, lack of education, learning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
growing.
Read a book, learn something.
Right.
Put your phone down, learn something. And that's the exact reason why I think what you suggested in the beginning of, either an online course or teaching, no one's interested in that. And I shouldn't say no one, because I started out by saying never say never, nobody, everybody, always.
Correct.
I don't
very
think
few.
There are very few that would be interested in sharing that kind of knowledge. And when I say knowledge, I don't have a lot, but just my own personal experience.
You have experience. That's right.
Right. Sharing what I know or other people that I have. I don't think my way of life is of interest to very many people. That's all.
Wow.
I think the world is tainted. This would be considered an old way, and people don't want to do that anymore.
I would agree. So we got through it. We talked about the delusional woman.
I think people would consider me delusional. Right? I mean, really, I've kind of been called that, right? I mean...
Oh, you have. I know you have. I thought they meant because you've been with me for 39 years.
No.
But anyway. All right. It's a matter of this, right? Let's not clump everybody together. Let's look at people individually. And now, if somebody individually fits that mold, okay, beware. Beware is all I'm going to say. And on both sides of that coin, whether they're the delusional feminist or whatever I said it was earlier, the delusional woman or the toxic male. Either way, right? There are people out there that fit both those titles well. Mm-hmm. We can't say it's all.
Right.
And we're wrong to do that.
Yes.
So I think we're going to call that a wrap.
Okay.
Until next time, I'm Dave. This is Crusade with Me. And we'll see you in the next episode. Truth intact, head high, and grounded in real worth.